How's it going, Blamers? And welcome back to Blame It on Mel. Jeanette, she was the girl who always felt different. She tried to do everything right, but she never felt good enough. She was the Relief Society president, the overachiever, the girl who volunteered more, prayed harder, confessed sooner, and she even punished herself longer. She dated the right boys. She held the callings. She followed all the rules. And yet, in the quiet spaces of her life, she carried a secret that she believed made her feel diseased, dangerous, and unworthy. Then she wrote a book, and it dropped today. Welcome, Jeanette. Thanks for being here.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so what made you even decide to write a book?
I don't know that I had a moment where I decided. I liked to write my whole life, and journaling is part of being a Mormon. And so I've journaled my whole life. And as part of processing life and myself and deconstructing the faith, I was writing. And then at some point, it became something that could be a book. And I thought this could help other people. And so that is how it came about.
Yeah.
Over the course of a long time, a lot of years of writing.
Yeah. Because did you feel as though you wish that you would have had access to the book that you had written when you were going through your, would you call it discovery period, or your deconstruction?
Yeah, I think that feeling connected to people who have a similar experience makes you feel like you're not weird and you're not alone, and helps you to discover yourself and have the courage to keep asking the questions. And so I definitely wrote the book that I would have needed, and that I hope other people can find, and that I just hope helps people. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, I completely resonate with that, because I felt the same way, as that I didn't feel like I had anything that I could connect with, or anyone that I could listen to that had left the church. And even being able to transition your marriage is something that's really difficult, and it's not something that anybody really talks about, is just being able to leave Mormonism and figure out where you
how
go
to
next.
be without it. Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I admire your podcast for that reason, just the ability for us to talk about these things, especially when we haven't, or I didn't for so long. It's just really important, and I know that it makes a difference. So thank you for the work you're doing.
No,
I believe in it.
Trust me, it's more therapy than anything. Yeah. And it's also a lot of entertainment for my therapist too. I think he looks forward to every Thursday when he gets to see me.
So let's talk about what you talked about today.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like he's even watching it too, because he has so many people coming in that are deconstructing their religion and have a lot of religious trauma. Not all Mormons, but
sure,
a lot of different religions. And so it's helping him being able to kind of understand how to help them.
Yeah. I love that for all of us. So
yeah, I do too. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Okay. Where are you from? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Sugar City, Idaho, which is a suburb of Rexburg, where BYU Idaho is located. So yeah, pretty small town, suburb of Rexburg.
Yep. And you're the oldest?
I'm the oldest of 4, and we're pioneer heritage. My great-great-great-grandfather directed the Mormon Tabernacle Choir for a time, and wrote the song God is Love that opens for the Sunday service of the Mormon Tabernacle Choir. So that's kind of cool.
That is really cool. Yeah.
We're pretty proud of that heritage, I think.
Yeah. Most Mormons, I feel like, are very proud of their heritage. They do more genealogy, family history research than I think anybody else. I didn't even know about it until I joined the church.
Yeah, and I think, yes, and I think that family is important for everyone, but especially, how important family is in Mormonism. And so, yeah, my family is super proud of that, and of who we are and where we came from, and of our faith that defines us as a family and a community. So yeah, there's a lot of pride in that.
So you started kind of talking about your childhood, and it seemed like you had a really great childhood.
I had a wonderful childhood, and we were Mormon, but everyone else in my family that I knew was Mormon, and everybody in my community, and I can't say everybody, but everyone that I was aware of was of the same faith. And so it was just the way that you viewed the world and the way that you approached challenges, and it defined everything really about you. And so being part of that was not weird. And I had a great childhood, and I loved being part of the church.
So you really didn't get a lot of exposure to any sort of diversity.
No. And we didn't really travel a lot. We would visit grandparents for vacations, but we didn't do a lot of traveling as a family. And so it was just small town, and it was just all I knew, and not a lot of diversity in thought or in any other way. So yeah, that's true.
It also seems like you did everything right. Like you wrote in your journal, you wrote in your journal, you made sure that you prayed often, you volunteered, you always apologized if you did anything wrong. I mean, like the story of your sister, for instance, is like you telling the story. Maybe tell the story of this sister, and then we'll talk about it.
Oh, it was Easter Sunday, and we were watching Mary Poppins as a family. And when the commercials came on, since this was live TV, I knew that my sister would need to run to the bathroom, and I thought I'd be really funny and stick out my foot and trip her as she ran. And I thought she'd fall down, and that would be the end of it. But when she tripped, she fell and hit her mouth on the edge of the hard couch on the armrest, and it chipped and broke her tooth, and she has problems to this day. And so I just felt so bad about that, because I had hurt her and I had done it on purpose. And so I'm not perfect, but I did really have that oldest child, high achieving, I want to be a good girl and make everyone happy feeling. And it so yeah, I mean, everything you're saying is true.
Yeah, and you felt really, really bad about it.
Yeah, I still do. I'm sorry. No, I felt really bad about that. I never wanted to hurt her. I know that seems dumb, but I did. I hurt her.
But I also think that shows how you were so ingrained to just do the right thing all the time. I mean, and any time that even though you didn't mean to hurt her and you did accidentally, and then you lied about it. And so that was the ultimate sin.
Yes, I said that it was an accident, and it wasn't. I tripped her on purpose. I thought it'd be funny.
Yeah. Yeah, but you came clean and told your family and everything, but you still like carry that shame and guilt and regret for pretty much like into your adult life.
I mean, I know that I didn't mean to hurt her even, and so, but yeah, I think that, and is that personality, or is it part of growing up in a religion that asks a lot of you, a high demand religion that where you're trying to be perfect, like that's your ultimate goal? I don't know. It's probably both, but certainly hard.
I don't know, because I have 5 kids and they all terrorize each other. I mean, and nobody feels bad about it.
Oh,
no.
Maybe it's a personality thing.
But all 5 of mine all have different personalities. Even my oldest, I mean, he's constantly picking on his little brother. It's constantly who's taller, who's stronger, all of those things. And they're in wrestling matches. Someone will get hurt constantly. And
I think that seems much healthier than how I approach life. So I'm glad they're wrestling and trying to kick each other in restaurants. But that's a good thing.
Yeah, but that's why part of me just feels like maybe that is something that, because you're brought up in that culture where you just have to do the right thing all the time.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that it was my parents' pressure. I just think it was the whole system.
Yeah.
And I mean, you go to the point of the sacrament every week on Sunday is to think about your week and how you lived, and turn your heart back toward God, and take the sacrament to reaffirm your covenants and to be worthy again. And so you're constantly, I think, looking at how you're behaving and how you're living your life, and asking yourself if you're in line with God and what he would want, and realigning if you're not. And in some ways that makes for Mormons are high achievers, like very successful, and this idea of divine discontent. I don't know if you remember reading about that, but that you can always be better than where you are now. And so you push for that. And I think that is a good thing. And setting goals and trying to be better is a good thing, but I think you can take it too far. And so where's the line in that? I don't know.
Well, I also feel like during sacrament, like when you're sitting there and you're supposed to be thinking about the things that you did wrong that you're supposed to repent of. You're not there to think about all of the good things that you did all week. And so your focus is always on what you did wrong. And that is a weekly occurrence before you take the sacrament, right? Because that's what I was always taught. And so
frankly, I had never really thought of that way, but you certainly don't think about the things that you've done right. You think about what you've done wrong and how you can be better and how you're repenting of that.
And that can have an effect on somebody.
I mean, psychologically and religion in general, I mean, maybe not all, but Christian religions are the natural man is an enemy to God and has been since the beginning of time and it will be till the end of days. And so you need Christ and you need his sacrifice and you need the church in order to be saved because you're carnal and fallen and the natural man is an enemy to God. And so you're just trained to think of
don't believe that.
You're trained to think of yourself as crappy because you need God.
They don't all believe that. They believe that you're already saved and that when you've come here,
you're saved once you accept Christ, but you have to accept Christ to be saved, right? Because as a person, you're not a good person. Like we're fallen. That was the fall in the Garden of Eden.
I think Mormons think that, but I don't. Like Christians, like Christian churches, they truly believe that you are already we've already been saved from our sins.
Everybody or those who accept Jesus?
No, there's no conditions. Mormonism is the only religion that ties conditions.
Yeah, well,
it is 100%.
That makes it really hard to be Mormon.
My daughter goes to like a Christian church at her school, and she's like, "Mom, like you will not believe it, like." It is all like we don't have to do anything. There's no checklist. Like we're already good people. Like we all are going to go to heaven. Like you can lose it, but it's already given to you.
That's a nice way to think.
Yeah. Even baptisms, they don't do baptisms
because you don't need to be cleansed of your sins.
No, because we've already been saved.
Religion is interesting.
Yeah, it's but I was like, that's so great because it's not a fear-based religion that she's living in, and I want that for my kid. Like I'm like, this is great. I love this.
Because there are plenty of good things about religion and about Mormonism, and I think that came through too. That I don't look back and say that it was all bad. And
Absolutely.
I have plenty of family members who are still in the church, and lots of friends who are too. And I understand what the allure that they see in it. And I know that there are plenty of good things. It's just that there are also difficult things that are not always talked about and that need to be recognized too in order for us to understand other people who may not fit the mold and their experiences, and they're valid as well.
So you dated a lot, right? You dated boys. You didn't date till you were 16. You followed the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't date till I was 16.
Yeah.
Dated plenty. Had a high school boyfriend. Yep.
But just never really, like you only kissed one boy, right? That was
kind of two, but really just one.
One counts.
One that counts. Yeah.
So it sounds like you were dating a lot, but you've never really had those feelings.
I mean, he wanted to be more, talked about marriage after his mission, but I remember just thinking, I'm so young. I don't know if the way I feel is the way I'm supposed to feel. I don't know if I feel strongly enough. It was just really confusing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine that. And you had also mentioned that you felt as though you wanted to spend more time with your friends that were girls more than you did going out on dates.
Yeah, especially in college. Just the dates were always hard because I felt pressured and I had to ask myself if I liked them or not, because everyone was always asking me how it was going and when I was going to get married, because it's such an important part of the next step for Mormons. And so I would hope that I liked the next one, and then I just wouldn't. And then it would be fun to go home and talk to my roommates about why it was so horrible. And I just felt more at ease or more comfortable or more at home or something around my roommates and my friends that were girls.
Yeah, because there's a lot of pressure to get married young. And you would kind of mention that a lot of your friends.
All of my friends were getting married. Not all of them.
Yeah.
Most of my friends were getting married, and I wanted that too.
Yeah. And you were only 20, right? When you graduated from Rick's College is what it was at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're there 18 to 20. Mm-hmm. And you graduated without being married, which is kind of
Sad.
rare, right?
Yeah, I think less so now, but even moving the mission age up so that girls can go earlier is a push to get girls married faster. And so that's where my parents met at Rick's College when they were college students, and they were married and happy. And I was obviously hoping for that too. It just wasn't happening for me.
That's where I met my husband, was at BYU, Idaho.
Lots of people do.
Yeah. So you graduated and then you went to school at Idaho State, right? And that is kind of your first jump into the pool of people that are non-members.
Yeah. As weird as that sounds. The first time I had a friend who wasn't a member of the church was when I was in college, and my roommate at ISU was not a member of the church. And she was my first friend who was outside of the faith.
Yeah. And how was that?
I liked her. I thought it was really interesting to talk to somebody who had different views, and I liked spending time with her, and we had the same major. And so it was fun. I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did mention that you kind of got into a discussion with her about religion.
We had multiple discussions about religion because she's religious, just not Mormon religious. And so we would have similar conversations as you and I just had about parts of our faith and how they worked and things like that. And so she challenged my faith in a way no one had ever done before, because she was the first friend that I had that didn't share my same faith.
But you had mentioned in there that it had gotten so bad, you had felt really bad about the conversation that you had with your roommate about religion, because you were writing about it in your journal, where you felt like you had to say that the church was true, and you felt like you almost needed to like repent for like the conversation.
I don't know if it was the conversation I needed to repent for, or if I started realizing that I liked spending more time with her than I did these boys. And I thought that those feelings were sinful. And you couple that with the fact that she has a different faith and she's challenging my faith, that I'm like, this is Satan. This is obviously like a challenge that I need to overcome. And so I don't know that I needed to repent of the conversation, although I did feel like I needed to stand up for my beliefs. This is my opportunity to have a missionary moment and to, talk about the truth and to potentially convert someone or whatever. But I think it was just recognizing how I was feeling toward her, which was, I really liked spending time with her more than I did these dates that were continuing and not fun and not productive. Does that make sense?
It does. So did you start to feel like you had like this like connection with her that was more on like an intimate level that you couldn't quite get there with the boys that you were dating?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, there is a lot to be said for relationships, and just more than like a physical expression of intimacy or affection, that there's a connection between you and the other person, and you like being around them and you like talking to them and you look forward to seeing them. And I felt that with her, and I didn't feel that with the boys I was dating.
Is that the first time that
The first time I recognized it? When I look back in journals, I can look at that and say that I looked at the girls around me and I always admired them and I wanted to be like them. And I think that is easily passed off as just that, like, this person is really righteous. This person is really cool. They're really smart. They're really athletic. I want to be more like that. So you can look at them as an example to emulate. But when really there might be an attraction there that you didn't notice or know what to call it or ever recognize.
And so this interaction with this roommate was the first time where you were like,
100%. This might be something bad. Yes.
Yeah, I'm in trouble.
Yeah. Yep.
So do you remember your feelings at the time, like processing that? Like were you confused? Were you scared?
All of that. And so then as an active Mormon, what do you do when you're faced with a challenge and you're scared and you're confused and this might be Satan? So you turn to church literature to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
And when I read at that time, because this is in the early 2000s, and I read about homosexual feelings in church literature, nothing that I read was very encouraging or positive. It was pretty dark.
What types of things did you read that kind of stuck out to you?
I had access to the Miracle of Forgiveness, so I was reading that book, which is out of print now. They discontinued in 2015, but a pretty damning book for anyone who's dealing with an LGBTQ feeling. I read all of the church talks. I read especially for youth. I would listen to conference talks when I would go on runs, just anything I could consume that was Mormon related, sanctioned by the church, that I did.
Yeah. And what was that telling you?
Having same-sex feelings, that first of all, that it's a choice, and that it's evil, depraved, disgusting, perverted, broken, dirty, diseased, every vile thing everything bad that you can think of to associate with this. That's what I was reading.
So you started to internalize that and feel like you were all of those things?
100%. And how could you not? That's all that I grew up hearing about and believing in, and being proud of my family's heritage and all of the things. So if that's describing me, that's a really terrible way to feel about yourself.
Well, then what do you do? Do you make a plan? Like, what do you do with all of that information?
I think that the way that I responded is typical for a lot of LGBTQ Mormons, and that is to be more righteous, I don't know, this is a challenge that I've been presented with, so I need to overcome it, and I need to be even better, and I need to try even harder. And so that's what you do. You pray more, just like you said, you go to the temple more, you study more, you fast more, and you try to figure out why you're feeling this way and get past it.
Is what kind of stood out is that you're already perfect. Like, you're doing everything that you can. You're doing everything that is asked. You haven't had any slip-ups with boys. You weren't drinking alcohol. You weren't drinking.
I was gonna say, no one's perfect, but no, everything you're describing is true.
All of the big ones.
Yeah.
All of the big things that you need to follow, you were doing them.
Right.
Sure, everybody has shortcomings.
Everybody trips their sister sometimes.
Everybody does that. Everyone tells a small lie, things like that. But all of the big things, you were doing it right. You're going to your church meetings, right? You're going to everything that's asked of you.
Didn't miss. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you were also, like, when you were at Rick's College, I mean, you had a pretty prominent job there where you were working with prophets, right? You got to shake hands with Hinckley.
Yeah, I worked in the Development Alumni Relations Office. So we worked with alumni who gave money to the college, and then we worked on the development side as well. And so when we hosted dinners for donors to the college, then prophets and apostles would come, and we would be the faces of the college students there helping out. And so when President Bednar was inaugurated as the president of BYU Idaho, at Rick's College at the time, then President Hinckley came as part of that. And so I helped him put on his robe for that ceremony. And so there was definitely, I was really Mormon and really trying to do the right thing.
You were doing everything right.
Yeah.
I mean, I was
trying.
You were a good, righteous person.
Yeah.
And then you had these feelings, and it all went away. Like, it's like everything that you did, all of these great things. I mean, you were volunteering in soup kitchens. You were throwing yourself into service that was above and beyond what is normally asked. And you still thought that you were all of those vile things.
Well, if the feelings I had for my roommate were an indication that I was gay, then I was all of those things that the literature said. And so that's a terrible way to feel.
Yeah.
That can't be true of me. This has got to be something else. It can't be that. That would be too horrible.
Yeah. Well, kind of like going back to even sacrament, where you're thinking about all the things that you've done wrong for the week, and not the things that are good. Did you ever also weigh all of the things that you're doing that was right? Did any of those things kind of, like, stick
Did
out
you
to
recognize
you.
any
Yeah,
of
recognize
that?
like, look at all these amazing things that I'm doing. I am a good person. Instead of
At the time, I did not.
like
No.
you've got this one thing, this one thing.
That is not just a one thing, though. And you know that it's a big, big deal. It's the sexual sin is second to murder in the Mormon church. So this is not like just anything.
But you hadn't acted on it. So you are.
But it was like the potential.
Yeah.
So that's
but you're holding
terrible.
this over your head and you hadn't even done anything. It's just the mere thought
Yeah.
that maybe you would like to.
Yeah. Or I'd like to sit closer to her when watching a movie than I maybe should have. So that is, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's important though, is that it's like, you know, like, especially when you are part of that fear-based religion, is to always like try to remember all of the good things that you are doing, all the good things that makes you a good person, and not always worried about the sins.
Yeah.
Like everybody sins, but what about all the things that you've done right? Do those not hold any weight?
You know, somebody once talked about like check marks in like good and the bad category and making sure you had more in the good and the righteous than the bad. I just think it psychologically doesn't make a lot of sense, because you can see mistakes that you make every single day. Like we just do, we're human.
Yeah.
And so it's exhausting to try to tally and figure out if you have more, which one you have more, which column has more tally marks in it.
Yeah.
But there's some pretty big tally marks if you're having feelings that you shouldn't be having, that have more to do with your soul and like your DNA than like a choice that you made. And that's where I think some of the hardest parts of it came in. Like at my core, am I a horrible person?
And you really felt like you were.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, I remember even reading in there, you were worried about giving blood. You felt as though you needed to disclose it.
I just thought my blood might be diseased if this was true of me, but that, like, the Red Cross didn't accept LGBTQ blood, and it had more to do with the fact that there was an AIDS epidemic, and that they needed to, if there was somebody who was actively gay, that they needed to be aware or check their blood for perhaps for that. And so it wasn't like totally crazy or out of left field. It was actually a thing. Less to do though with like me as a person and my DNA, and more to do with like a global epidemic, if that makes sense.
And you didn't know it at the time though, right? Like as far
I had heard like that LGBTQ folks can't necessarily give blood.
Okay.
And so it just reinforced the narrative for me, even outside church literature, that like, it's because you're bad and horrible and terrible.
Yeah.
And even your blood is diseased and nobody wants it.
Did you disclose it?
No, I
Like,
just
do they have a box for you to check that
no,
says?
they'll ask you all the questions.
Okay.
And they're pretty thorough questions. So I answered them all honestly. And then I just hoped that if they did find something wrong with it, they would let me know. And they never called. So it was fine.
But do they ask you if you're gay?
They ask you about who you've had sex with.
Okay. And if you hadn't had sex with anyone,
You
then
can
you're
answer
fine.
honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy that you thought that your blood was diseased.
But it's not that crazy because it was a thing. But yes, it's
It
crazy.
is a little
All right,
crazy.
it's crazy.
Like, it is 100% crazy.
Okay. Okay.
There's no normalcy there.
Okay.
Right?
I hear you.
Like,
I just tried to justify why. Like, it made sense to me at the time.
like there's something wrong with your blood. Like you were born with some sort of deficiency somewhere.
Yes. Yes. And there
Jeanette,
are going to be
crazy.
people out there who may or may not hear this, but I hope do, who thought this way or who still do. The reason I'm here talking to you, because this isn't necessarily easy to do, is that I know there are people who think this way, and they need to hear that they're okay.
Yeah.
Because it's not necessarily crazy, in the sense that there are still people who feel this way and think this way, and wherever it comes from, and certainly church teachings, because that's where it came from for me, are part of it. People need to hear the truth, right? And so yay for you and this platform, and for us for saying, look, that's actually crazy. You don't need to feel that way.
That actually makes me sad that people think that
100% they
there's
do.
something wrong with them. That it makes me sad for little Jeanette too.
Yeah.
Like,
Me too.
oh,
That poor girl.
I know. So did you ever act upon anything with your roommate?
We were closer than we should have been, but we never kissed or anything like that.
Yeah.
That would have been so bad. So
Yeah.
I really liked her and liked spending time with her, and we were best friends. So I knew that it was more than it should have been if she was just my friend. Plus, I was just dating up a storm, and they were just not the right ones. So it just seemed to be a problem.
So were you just hoping that you would just kind of find that knight in shining armor?
I thought I would find the right person. I thought it would just needed to. Well, you read my journal.
Yeah.
I just thought I would find them at some point.
So you did everything. I mean, you were the Relief Society president. You were trying really hard to basically become more righteous, like you said, to hopefully, were you thinking you could change it or that it was going to go away? God was going to take this from you?
I think I didn't fully accept it. I was like, uh-oh, is this that terrible thing? I hope not. In the meantime, I'll just do everything I need to do to be righteous, and hopefully this won't end up being a thing. Like, I never to myself wanted to admit this could be who you are.
It is hard to understand. So I'm glad that you're explaining it, because I don't know if you haven't been in your shoes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can
I think
understand
that's why,
it.
and you were saying the beginning of the book, like, took a bit to get into it.
Yeah.
And I gave some background about growing up because I felt like it was important to set the scene for why you make the choices that you do and why you have that psychology of like, this is a terrible, terrible thing. Because if that's all you've known and that's all you've heard and that's what you believe and that's the way you view the world and where you come from and why you're here and where we're going and how it's all supposed to work together, and if you do this, then this will happen and then you will be happy. It's the great and eternal plan of salvation and happiness. I wanted that and I believed that. So and hopefully I didn't spend too much time on that, but I wanted people who might read the book or like you who don't know me to understand, like, this was where I was coming from and this is why I responded the way I did. And I know it's pretty orthodox, but that was life. That's what I knew. That's what I believed.
Yeah. No, I think that you did a really good job of it, because it definitely shows that you were a really good person. You did all the right things and you beat yourself up over very small things that most people would think are very small and natural.
I also wanted to live with Heavenly Father and Jesus in my family again. I want to be part of the celestial kingdom. It seems a pretty good goal.
Do you think that you won't now?
I don't think that there is a celestial kingdom now, so that I don't have to worry about whether I'm going to end up there or not.
Do you still believe in God and all of that?
I think that I would be more agnostic than anything, which is to say, I don't know what I believe. I think that there could be a higher power, and I'm happy to be figuring that out. And I'm glad that I can live in a space where I can be comfortable with not knowing and move away from a space where I needed to be so sure this is the truth and it's black and white and it's all like this and there's not room for nuance. Now I embrace complexity and recognize that there's a lot of things we don't know and we may never know, and I can live in a space of ambiguity, and I'm happy to be there.
No, I think that's fair to say, like, I don't know. I'm going to take my time and try to figure it out.
Mormons will say I know.
Yeah.
And not give a lot of space for, and like not knowing or having doubt is also a sin. It's also a bad thing.
Shaken testimony.
Well, yeah. And anchor into what you know. And what I know is values. And I know what I value, and I value love and morality and a good world and respect for people. I have the same values as my Mormon family and friends, but I don't know a lot of things that I used to think I did.
So I was actually really excited to see that you kind of got into like the tarot cards.
Oh.
And astrology and all of those things.
Yeah.
I love that because my friend Katie, she did the same thing. Like when she left the Mormon church, she got into that as well. Like it's just kind of a fun to look at your horoscope and to read those tarot cards. And because I don't think we were really allowed to do that before either. I feel like it's kind of like witchcraft. So I think it was maybe shunned a little.
No, it's fun. I love to learn. As we talked, I'm kind of nerdy, but when you step away from a faith that has defined your whole life and a belief system that's pretty rigid, and you allow yourself to ask, like, what's out there, there's a lot of cool things to discover. I studied Sufism. I was ordained a Sufi.
Wait, I don't know what that is. What is that?
It's an Eastern religion and a lot of meditation and it's a lot about like sending out love to the universe and to people. And I liked that about it. And then we have a little group in Boise that I learned about Wicca, and that's kind of cool and interesting. And I
Yeah.
can't say that I'm going to fully throw myself into anything, but learning about all of the different ways to see the world has been so fun and beautiful. And there's beauty in lots of places. And Mormons believe that too. It's the 13th article of faith. You know, we look for anything good, a good report and praiseworthy. We seek after those things. But I don't know that I felt as free to do so as a practicing Mormon.
Because you're not really supposed to go and research other religions. It's not really something that would be celebrated.
Probably not celebrated. Some people might disagree with that. I don't know.
Yeah. Then you finish at ISU, right? Anything else that you want to share about that part of your life?
No, yeah. Graduated college, ready to move on, became a teacher and moved to Boise and became a teacher.
And then you started taking institute classes there, right?
I was sad to leave my roommate because she was such a good friend, but glad to be away from that situation because whatever that was all about and how I was feeling was weird. And so I thought no better way than to rebuild my life in Boise, than to continue to learn about the church through the Institute of Religion and take those classes and keep being faithful.
Then you met a teacher that you really connected with and was a fabulous teacher.
Mm-hmm. She was one of the few female CES instructors at the time who was full-time teaching for the church education system.
Why is that?
Because women were supposed to be married and be mothers. And so she was single and not married. And so she was able to do that when she got married at the time. And the policies might have changed with CES since this point in time. Then she would need to move into the home and raise children. So she would not be employed by CES. But at the time she was single.
So that was a rule that if you're going to be employed by the church as a teacher, then if you get married, you will
lose your job
or have to resign. Right. One of the two.
Right.
I did
At least
not
to
know
be
any of that.
full-time employed by CES. People might be called to do that in smaller ways, but to be a full-time employee of the church education system as a female, you needed to be unmarried.
So do you feel like it's strange that people make comments that women within the church are allowed to have jobs?
I think that women within the church see their role as mothers and wives. And so I don't know who's making the comments about women having an unequal voice in the church, I think are certainly true if you're seeking a career or you want to be more than a wife and mother. It is a little bit discouraged because that is your primary purpose. But that is an illustration of one way that was at play within the organization of the church.
Yeah, because I had talked about oppression of women in the church. And one of those was that we are told that we're supposed to be a housewife. And in my church council that I had with all of those amazing priesthood leaders, they had said to me, like, we just want to let you know and to clear up that women are not oppressed. And there are a lot of women within the church that have successful careers, and the church actually encourages women to work.
You know, there is evolution within the church, but we're talking about at this point in time, that was the stance, at least for the church education system, because women are primary roles as homemakers in the home. So
you really gravitated towards this teacher. She was very intelligent. I mean, you spoke very highly about her.
anyone sees this who knew her is and was a wonderful person.
So in the book, you call her Molly, right? Does it at least start with the same letter?
I just thought Molly Mormon was kind of funny too.
Oh, okay, yes. Okay, I was wondering how you come up with all of these names that you were...
You change names,
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, Molly Mormon. I love that. I feel like you should have put that. Did you put it in the footnotes that I didn't read?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, so you were, how old were you? You were, I want to say you were 24 or 26 at this point in time.
Oh, when I was attending her religion classes?
Right.
Yeah, about that.
Right. And what was your reasoning for taking all those classes?
I enjoyed them. I wanted to learn. I wanted to stay righteous. I wanted to continue to grow in the church.
Were you still having those same-sex attraction feelings?
Not that I recognized at that point, no.
So you felt like what you were doing was working?
Yes, very much so.
Okay. And so were you taking a lot of these classes when you were at ISU, and that's why you continued in Boise, because you wanted to kind of keep those feelings?
Yeah, anytime it's a social network too for college students in the church to attend Institute, because you meet other Mormons and you get to learn, and there's social events, and so it's just a place to hang out and continue to build community and to stay faithful and active, because college can be a tumultuous time for people. So if you want to stay faithful, you go to the places where it's easier to stay faithful, and that's the Institute.
I get that. I've never taken an Institute class.
I was going to say, you probably won't.
Yeah,
You're missing out on that.
No, I never had a desire. I didn't even know it was like a thing to do outside of college.
Well, I was trying to tell you it's just what everyone does, because it's just what all my friends were doing. But I also do like to learn. So taking classes, like I do like to learn and continue learning about the gospel and why things are the way they do, and challenge my thinking. I did like that part of it.
And you're still dating boys at this point in time. I mean, you even...
Fewer and fewer. It's like as you get older and you're in a career. I mean, the Institute and church, like your singles ward that you attend with other unmarried Mormons, is a place where you can meet people. But it gets harder as you move out of college to like date a lot. But I was still trying to date and working full time and still looking for the right one.
And you were doing online dating, right?
Oh, I did try that for a second.
Montana boy, right?
Yeah.
I knew his name was made up because it was Dave, and nobody in Montana. No Montana boy is named Dave. He's got to have a cowboy
and his
name.
name is Dave.
Was his name Dave?
Yeah, that's his real name. He exists. He's out there.
Montana cowboy. He's got to be called like Lance or something, like some kind of cowboy name.
Yeah. Yeah, he was great. He was funny and smart, and I liked him.
Yeah.
And far away, which was nice. He lived in Montana.
Why is that? Why do you say that?
I didn't have to see him in person. I don't know. It was not dangerous at all because he was not nearby.
Because you were worried about...
I was worried I'd meet him and not like him.
Oh
no.
You knew at this point where you're like, I am... Like you knew that you had no feelings for guys on that level.
I think I knew, but I think I didn't accept it because it would be too horrible.
Yeah. And you kept going.
And maybe I will meet one of them and it will just be right.
Jeanette, you were breaking hearts. You had a guy make a freaking mix CD for you. Like those,
yeah, that was nice.
Those are not easy. It took some time back.
I should have been more grateful for that.
Yes, you had boys like seriously doing a lot of amazing things for you, and you're just kind of like, next. Like,
I know. I didn't think of it that way, but
you were speed dating.
They probably, if they could have a say, would be like, that was 100%. I put a lot of effort into this, and she did not give me a chance. And they would be right.
Even the one boy that said that he had some sort of like premonition or something, right?
He had a revelation that we needed to get married. And as my priesthood leader, he admonished me to ask God if I had the same. And I was like, well, he's right. He has the priesthood and I don't.
And you took that? You were like, okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I fasted and I prayed about it, and I was like, man, I cannot feel right about this. I cannot get the same answer. So I just figured.
You were in this deep then, like deep. You are now having a boy tell you that you need to marry him because he has the priesthood. Like,
well,
think about
he
how
felt like it was
how
right.
crazy it does sound, though, right? Like just like pull yourself out of the Mormonism
I'm just
a
trying.
little bit.
I'm trying
As
to
an outsider,
explain it as so that
no,
people can
100%,
understand.
yes.
Do I know that it's do I know that it's crazy? Yes. Yeah. But I'm trying. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
That poor guy. And poor me. I'm going to say poor me too.
Yeah, and you didn't honor his priesthood.
I know.
How
Thank
dare
goodness,
you?
Though.
Did you stop taking the sacrament over that?
No, I did not. No. Because I didn't do anything wrong.
So then your institute teacher, do you call her your institute teacher? Is that what Molly Mormon was?
Yeah, she was my institute
Yeah, your institute teacher. So you became friends with her, right?
Yeah.
Outside of the class. And is that allowed?
I guess so, because we did it. I don't think I was in her, when we spent more time together as friends, I think I wasn't in her class at that point. She had just been my teacher in the past.
Yeah. Okay. Because you had also mentioned, like, when you were in Young Women's, you weren't allowed to be in a car with one of the young women by yourself. Was that a rule? I worked in the Young Women's. I gave plenty of young women rides home, and that was not a rule.
That was not a rule. That was something that she had told me I needed to be careful about, so that nothing was ever said about me that could be misconstrued. Like, if somebody found out that I had same-sex attraction, that problem, that ailment or affliction, and I had given a girl a ride home without another adult there, then there could be accusations met or something could be misconstrued. And so I thought, that's true. I should probably never be alone with any child in any situation, which I mean, as an educator, I think we should all make wise and good choices, and that we need to keep children safe. I just think the supposition in that case is that there's something wrong with you, so you can never be alone with a child. So that's just more fodder for like the shame talk that plays in your head because you're a bad person.
Because you had said that you had thought of yourself as a predator. And
I just thought what I'm reading is that a lot of these people who have same-sex attraction are predators. They're bad. They're horrible.
Oh, gotcha.
Gosh, if that is true, then what of me? I never felt that way. I've never done anything wrong. I've been a teacher for over 2 decades, and I love.
Well, you had talked about like grooming, and you had said, like, do people that are grooming, do they realize they're doing it?
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
Are they doing it on purpose? Like, you were worried about that in that moment. Yeah. Like, do they think,
how bad am I?
Yeah. Like, or is it, am I grooming this person and I don't realize it?
Oh my gosh, I gave her a ride home. Was I grooming her? I gave a kid a ride home.
100%. But you were kind of beating yourself up thinking like, is this like, could I be a predator and not know it? Yeah. Like, could I be on that path? Like, to where you were worried about even giving a ride home to a girl, right? And because
and that is crazy.
I'm glad that you admit it finally. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for not fighting it anymore. Yeah, that is a little wild, but also like my heart breaks for you in that moment, thinking about you and all of the good things that you're doing. I mean, you are a good freaking person, and you are worried that you're not, and that you could be doing all of these things and not realizing it just because you have same-sex attraction.
Right.
Like that's sad. It's really sad.
It is sad, and that's why it needs to be said. And I know that it's extreme, and maybe not everybody will relate to that, but that is the power of the rhetoric that I was hearing and reading. And when we tell people that they're not okay the way they are, to an extreme degree, this is what's playing in someone's head.
I even think about, I do think that a lot of people worry even about let's say a babysitter that is a lesbian, and we know that, and having them babysit your kids, would they allow that? Or would they think that that is not appropriate, or that they're scared for that? Like, even though there's nothing to be I mean, I have a friend, she wouldn't say she's a lesbian, she's bisexual, but she watches my kids. I've never felt
Nor should you. It's the same as any person. Like any person that's capable of both good and bad.
Yeah.
It's just the way that we label things, and as a society that we can take a look at our feelings about individuals based on their sexuality, and how do we classify them, and are we homophobic?
Yeah. Are we homophobic? Like, could me and you be friends and not be?
Can we be purely friends?
Yeah. Could we be purely friends and everybody else not think that I'm also a lesbian just because I'm friends with you? Like, I do feel like society kind of makes you guilty by association. Or if you're friends with people that are swingers or whatever it is, like, then now you're labeled as that.
Which just might be a lot of fear about not fully understanding people and where they're coming from. And that's why I guess I tell you my story, or at least, and I share it because we have a lot of values. I think people in general share a lot of the same values. We all want love in our lives, and we all want a good life with a safe world. And we all, I think most people, care about one another. I mean, we want heaven. We want to live in a utopia. How we go about creating that is where politics and religion and education can get tricky, because how that comes about and how you achieve that purpose is where we disagree. But I think at our core, a lot of us share similar values.
Yeah, no, because just because that you're gay, you're not dangerous.
Right.
You're not a threat. Your blood is not diseased.
Thanks, Mel.
You're welcome. I just want to make sure that you know it. And everybody else that's listening, because I think that's important, that
I think so too.
It's nothing to be scared of. Like, I do think that a lot of people within society, especially living in a place like Idaho, it is an area where people are scared of it. And there's no reason to it. There's no danger.
Potentially because there's a lack of experience with individuals with lived life experience in this space. Like, once you have somebody that you know and love who's living this experience, then it helps you to see it differently. So talking about your experiences helps us to build empathy for one another, and helps it to be something that people understand better.
Yeah.
And I think, and you and I talked about this a little bit as well, because it seems like there are more male voices in this space, and I honor all of those, but I would love to have more female voices to share their experiences too as part of the conversation.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because you had also mentioned that you didn't do any sort of conversion therapy or anything like that, but I mean, I don't even think that's a thing.
I don't think it is.
Females.
I'd never heard about it or was offered it.
Yeah.
Not that thank goodness.
But most of the gay Mormons that I know, they have all been offered that or had participated in some sort of conversion therapy.
Yeah.
But women, it doesn't sound as though there's anything
Not in
like
my
that.
experience.
I haven't seen it
Not
either
mine.
with anybody that I had spoken to. So I don't know if it's something that's not as common, but within the Mormon church, or if it's just that they're not worried about it.
I don't know.
Because you don't hold the priesthood.
Women don't talk about it as much. I don't know. I don't know either.
Because even like my friend Katie, she Mormon, had 4 kids and then left her marriage, and she's like, hey, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, I want to find out if I'm something else than what they told me I had to be. And maybe I like to be with women. I'm going to try it. And that's okay. And it's like, that's nothing to be scared of or anything. And it seems like so many people in our area are scared of her, just scared of who she is now.
Sure. She represents danger, the unknown, moving away from tradition, a new way to look at things.
So you eventually develop feelings for your teacher,
Right.
for your seminary teacher.
Yeah. Yep.
You kind of want to walk through that a little bit?
I don't know how much there is to say other than I just really liked being around her. And I thought, is this the same thing that was happening with the roommate back at ISU? But it can't be. She's a lot older than me. She's my religious leader. She's way more spiritual than me. She, of all the people in the whole world, is not a threat. And this cannot be that. So it just must be that my family isn't super touchy-feely, and so maybe liking to sit next to her is okay.
Okay. Yeah.
You just try to justify it, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did feel feelings of attraction for her. I just didn't want to name or acknowledge what that could mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so at what point in your relationship did that shift?
We had a good friendship that at one point turned into more when she kissed me. And that's been 20 years ago. But at the time was very confusing for her and was still very shameful. I think when I look at it from my now vantage point and I say, I don't believe anymore that it's wrong to love somebody of the same gender. And I think expressing that love is also okay. But at the time, that was not okay. And so she was really confused about what was happening, and so was I. And it was a pretty big deal.
So had she, and I don't know if you want to share much of her story, but had she had this same-sex attraction that she also was dealing with and
not that I know
trying
of,
to suppress?
Not that I know of, but also that would be something she would need to talk about.
And then had you guys had that conversation about having same-sex attraction?
No.
It was just something where
it felt like it came out of nowhere.
Yeah. And so you felt really bad, or you felt good, or what were your emotions after that?
I hadn't kissed anyone in 10 years. And so I liked it and I liked her. So it was exciting, but it was also a recognition that, okay, this is the same thing that I was experiencing at ISU, and this is wrong and bad. And what do we do now? So it was, I guess, in what could have been exciting and nice, it was full of shame.
So what did happen? She called her bishop, right? And
we confessed to her bishop, which is not normal practice because he wasn't my bishop, but we felt like right away, we've got to get this confessed and get past it. And then,
because normally you would confess to your bishop, she would confess to hers.
Right. And then she decided to take a sabbatical from teaching because she wanted to make sure she was worthy and ready to go, and had made sure she was, I'm speaking for her, I suppose, but she took a sabbatical and then was never invited back to teach again. So
did the bishop ever hand out any sort of disciplinary action to either of you?
He didn't. I think he was a little bit surprised by the whole thing. So at that point, he just said, don't see each other anymore. And thanks for letting me know. And I don't know. 20 years ago. No, he didn't hand out any punishment at that time.
But you still felt like you needed to be punished.
I don't know. I always, I read about repentance, and you have to try to make amends for the things that you've done wrong. You confess it, you talk to God, and I never felt like I knew for sure when I had fully repented, enough, am I clean now? Now that I've confessed it, is it enough? Or do I need to do more? Because this was a really bad sin. I don't know. I think it's hard to know when you're fully repentant.
Yeah. But didn't you write in the book that you decided that you were not going to take the sacrament?
No, not at that point. But there are other points of my life, if I felt like I'd done something really bad, that I would self-impose not taking the sacrament.
But yeah, that you had felt like you needed to not take the sacrament, and you had expressed how the people around you, they knew what that meant to not take the sacrament, and just to be able to also feel that judgment was something that was heavy.
Yeah, the sacrament is supposed to be a cleansing ordinance that renews your baptismal covenants, so then you would be baptismal clean again. And then when you've done something really wrong, you're restricted from taking the sacrament. So it's just feels very public shaming that you sit there and have to pass the tray along so everyone around you knows, oh, something's wrong, when you're at a point where you really could use that sort of, it just seems weird. But I had talked to my bishop later, and at that point he did say that it would be good if I didn't take the sacrament for a few weeks. So I think maybe that's what you're referring to.
Okay, yeah, maybe.
But it was after the fact, so I think we're just getting our timelines messed up.
Oh, probably, yeah.
There's a lot of confessing and repenting going on.
It's hard to keep track of
Yeah.
all of it. So then she was basically asked to resign or she would be let go.
Correct.
And she chose to resign, Molly. And that was her source of income, right? Like that was her job.
Right.
And
Yeah.
she had been employed for how many years?
A lot. 15?
Yeah, I thought it was something around 15 or 20. It was a long time. And so like, what do you do then? Like,
She tried lots of different jobs.
Yeah.
Didn't find one that really fit. I tried to help when I could financially.
Does that seem wild that she would get fired? I mean, yes, she resigned, but she was technically forced to resign. So I look at it like you're getting fired. However you want to make it a formality, go ahead. But the fact that she got fired over kissing somebody over.
I think that what it did was reinforce just how bad it is to be gay. That this would be, and I'm not saying she was, by the way, that her choice, that this kiss took place and that was the result, reinforced how horrible this is. How horrible it is to have same-sex attraction. And now that's okay, you just can't act on it. But to act on it, even in a small way, is devastating. So it reinforced the narrative in my mind of everything that I had been learning.
I just wonder is if she had a sexual sin with a man, if it would have had the same effect. Like if she would have also been released.
That is an interesting question.
I think that's intriguing to even think like, is it just because, because a kiss is something that is very small. Nothing more happened. It was just a kiss. It's
Right.
very, very, very innocent.
Or is it, Mel?
I think it's innocent.
But it
I
was
mean-
a kiss of the same gender. So I'm
mean,
trying to help
listen-
you. I spent the whole first part of this helping you understand how bad this was.
Listen,
and now you're saying that
you have
that's
to
not a
understand,
big deal.
It's not a big deal because I'm a girl that went to Boise State and you get drunk and you kiss your friend. Like that's a normal thing. That's okay. I never felt bad for it.
Yeah, that was not okay. And especially for someone in the position she was in. So recognizing
Yeah.
that being part of the church education system and to being in a position of influence over youth in the church, that's going to be a pretty big deal.
So she goes on to apply at BYU, Idaho to be a professor, right?
She got the job. Mm-hmm. And then she didn't get the job. So it's just hard to know at the time who was talking to who and what was being said because she had talked to a friend about what had happened and asked for his advice. And so it felt I felt like I didn't know who I could trust because I didn't know who was saying what to whom and what they thought had happened. And it just reinforced all of the things I was learning about how bad this particular thing is.
It seemed like there was a lot of blame that you took on over what had happened and what she was experiencing and going through. It seemed like that kept coming up reading through your journals and what you were writing is that you kind of blamed yourself, even though you didn't kiss her, she kissed you. Is that right? Did I get that correct?
No, that's right. And I unfairly took on a lot of blame, but I think that I just saw her as somebody who was really, really righteous. And so for something like this to happen, I must have been doing something wrong. I know that I'm not a victim, but like women blame themselves when something happens. Like maybe I wore something too provocative. Maybe I was flirty and I didn't know it. Maybe I don't know. It was easy to take on blame because I thought I must have caused this somehow.
Yeah, because you're also taught that with the whole purity culture within the LDS church is that like you're taught, right, to dress modestly, because if not, then you are basically you're responsible for any impure thoughts that a boy would have or a man.
Right. And it goes the other way too, I'm sure. So I figured I had done, I didn't know what I had done wrong, but I knew that it must have been something. I mean, it was mutual, obviously, but she was the other way.
Brandon, have you ever heard that? Like, does it go the other way that men are taught that however they dress, or if they walk around without their shirts or any of those things, that they are.
I was told back some so sexy, so they were like,
yeah.
no, I was never told that.
No, it's only taught. That's what I'm saying. It's only taught
with
to
the
women.
same gender.
Oh, with the same gender. Yes. Yes.
Still too tempting. I don't know. I'm not. That sounds weird, but I just I did figure I did something wrong.
That it was something that you were like, what did I wear that day? Did I give off some sort of vibe or
anywhere
signal
along the way? Like where's the blame for this? Like, who is to blame for this problem that occurred when two righteous people were trying to do the right thing and live the right way?
Yeah,
something has to be to blame.
Why? Yes.
Because
why?
We shouldn't have had that happen if we were both good, righteous people doing the right things. You're supposed to be protected. You're supposed to be A plus B is supposed to equal C. You know what I mean? God's supposed to be with you and help you. And these kinds of things aren't supposed to happen.
And they do.
And they do.
And they do.
There's a lot of... Even you look at the secret lives of Mormon wives, and these girls have had a lot of experiences with sexual assault, and there's a lot of things that go wrong in the organization, I suppose, just in people's lives, where you wonder, how did this happen when I was doing everything right?
Because you were going above and beyond. So was she. It seemed as though she was extremely intelligent, right? And she was teaching everybody about the gospel, and
phenomenal teacher. Really good.
She was also the one that helped you decide to go through the temple, right?
Yeah.
And take your endowments out.
Yeah, I didn't serve a mission because I didn't think that I was worthy, but I really wanted to go to the temple because that's what you do to keep progressing in Mormonism. And so I wasn't getting married and I wasn't serving a mission. So it was just a decision to go for myself. And so, I was nervous about it and I didn't know if it was the right decision. And she helped talk me through it and figure out if I should go and get ready to go, that sort of thing.
All right, Blamers, that's another shot of truth with no chaser. If you made it this far, I love you for it. If you're offended, it's probably because it hit home. Make sure you hit follow so you don't miss the next episode. Share this one with your friends, your ex, your therapist, whoever needs to hear it. And tag me at Blame It On Mel so I can see who's taking the blame with me. Until next time, keep it real, keep it raw, and if all else fails, just blame Mel.